Halo gets pushed back to 2021? You ruined my dreams, Microsoft. An Epic gets slapped by Apple right in the face. We might see a new Batman game here on the Gaming Casuals podcast. Welcome to the Gaming Casuals podcast, your host for all gaming news from a casual perspective. We are your hosts, John and
Brandon.
Guys, what is going on? It's been a great couple of weeks, and by great, I mean terrible. We've got some terrible news to talk to you about. I'm going to get really dramatic right now. Slow zoom. Okay, listen. Halo Infinite was pushed back.
Yes.
To 2021, because, we can't have anything great in this world. And in fact, 2020 was such a wash, they decided that there's too much bad luck pushing out Halo before 2021 even began. So they did cite coronavirus concerns.
Yes.
But we are not going to see the Halo Infinite title on Xbox Series X Day 1, Brando.
Yes, that is. It is sad, not going to lie. I was very excited to see this launch with the console because it hasn't done that since the Halo 1. It has not launched with an Xbox console. It's going to be really cool. But I understand why. It was something that, again, I loved the presentation at the Xbox Game Showcase. We've talked about it in the past. I liked it because I'm just nostalgic and I loved Halo. Yes, it didn't look like super next gen like everybody's saying, but it didn't bother me. But I think that they need to go back. I think that's what they've said is they're going to go back and make this the best game it can possibly be. And I will say, yes, having the delay is a bummer, but I think my thoughts are I think they made the right call because I would rather see Halo be the best it can be. And I would like to see it without forcing the developers to just crunch and suffer at trying to get a game out at a specific time. Yeah, it'd be nice to have it launch, but at the end of the day, these are real people making this game. Let's make it the best it can be. Don't kill yourself over this. It's going to be okay. And that's what I think they're doing.
Now, Brandon, I hate to take the devil's advocate, but I'm a little bit more hurt about Halo being pushed back. And, it's been a super long time.
It has been.
For them to be developing a Halo game, right?
5 years.
And I think for a lot of people, they may have seen the rolling, impending tide of incredible AAA games happening this year, and they thought, maybe our game isn't up to par. I don't know. We don't know. All we know is what they told us. I know for every report about the crunch culture and all that jazz, there's some email being sent to a Microsoft employee somewhere saying, keep up that momentum. It's gonna be great. So I'm not as optimistic. Let me say about this as you. But I will say, you know what? A game's gonna happen.
A game's gonna happen.
I can't say I enjoy half-baked games, but really I would have enjoyed at least like part of the half-baked, like at least half the game would have been great.
So would you have liked a split where it's like, hey, if multiplayer was done, you want that slice?
Listen,
at
I'm just
launch?
saying, give me something. Like,
so you want something. Does it have to be the full game or just anything at all?
You know what? We always expect full games. But as games get bigger and bigger, you may have to adapt with how games are being made these days. And maybe Microsoft should have made this call a little earlier. What it was coming down to for me was that back in May, Phil Spencer did warn us, hey, because of this year, games are going to get pushed back. And we're like, no dip. Like, we know that. Like, we understand that. We understand that whole thing. But to have a game that's been 5 years in the making, the last year, I don't know how the game life cycle goes, but the last year in a 5-game, cycle probably is mostly like polishing out some touches, starting the promotion, getting things ready. This is a really just like, you got to be kidding me right now.
It is interesting, too, because I know that in the past, Phil Spencer has said he's liked the games where they announce them and they come out later that year. They don't want that big 3-year gap between the first time you see the game and when it actually comes out. But I will say, seeing the game for the very first time, just a few months before when it's supposed to come out, that's cutting it close. And I think that they're listening to fan feedback, too. People did not like what they saw.
That is true.
Not everybody, but a lot of people did not like what they saw. I think they're saying, all right, we cannot.
They did some focus groups,
Yeah.
They found out, wow, this game might actually tank a little bit in comparison to.
And they need to stick the landing. They cannot fail at that because Halo 5's campaign was a little lackluster. People did not enjoy it and have that same enjoyment as they did the rest of the series. So they had to come out firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
So if they came out with a subpar game, it doesn't matter how maybe a year from now they might make it amazing. People are going to see that first impression and go, Halo's done. It did not launch with the expectations that it had. It's done. So I think that, yes, this is bad for sure for not just Halo, but for Microsoft as well. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I think it might have been worse if they launched with a half-baked game and people see that and play and they say this is awful. Or not up to standards.
I get it. No one likes a cold hot pocket, but listen, man, Master Chief was looking real good for a second there, which stinks because listen, you're right. Like they can't screw this up, but they're not helping anybody.
And that goes to the next point too. They are not helping anybody, including themselves, Microsoft, because this was the game to launch with the Series X. It was the standalone first party have to have it Xbox title. And now they have nothing for the launch of Series X. Do you think, and I'm going to ask you this, do you think that Game Pass alone, because that's what they're touting as like the best place to play all these games, there's going to be 1,000 titles for the Series X because of Game Pass or whatever they said. You can play all the Xbox One games, everything. It's going to have the biggest launch library ever because of the old games you have. Do you think that Microsoft can do well with Game Pass as its flagship killer app for the Series X?
I think they can, but they have to fulfill expectations with their audiences. And I'm not going to say that this is the end all be all for Microsoft. I think I'm being a little bit dramatic, but let's be honest here. I was only going to buy the Series X for Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite. And the only reason why I wanted it for Cyberpunk was that I wanted to see it in its full resolution glory. And with that coming out on 1080p Xboxes, I have no incentive to buy an Xbox.
And to go even further, didn't CD Projekt Red say that their Series X PS5 update isn't coming till later? Yes, you can play it on the Series X, but all of the fancy bells and whistles aren't going to be out till later unless they've changed some things. That's what the last thing I heard said. So you may get to play it on there, but you may not fully appreciate the graphical fidelity and all that stuff because it's just the...
I feel like Denethor on Minas Tirith just screaming, "Flee for your lives!" I'm getting slapped in the face by Gandalf. Anyway, I kind of feel that way, but, that's going to be... I would say, Brando, with this kind of iteration happening, with this kind of news, I'm not going to buy Xbox Series X day one. I'm going to wait and see how the bugs get worked out, and when a Halo comes out in February, Q1 sometime, right before my birthday in March, then I'll get it, but it's still just a real big bummer.
It is. So that goes to another point. When do you think it will come out? Do you think it's going to be spring, or do you think it's going to be further? Because really, if they're missing the launch, because that was the big deadline, got to get it out, it's got to be a launch title. Now they're not going to make that. They could push it to fall 2021. They could take as much time as they wanted to get it right. What do you think they're going to do?
You know what? I think a lot of it depends on the strategy of Q4 sales for Xbox Series X. They're going to take a look at that bottom line and be like, we have got to get this game back on the market, because the big thing with Christmas on the way was getting that game out there for everybody to play. Getting you to buy an Xbox Series X day one. And with that not happening now, I can definitely see Halo Infinite being pushed back to the end of February. I think, if anything, I don't see a lot of games come out in January. It doesn't happen all that much. And I think between the end of February and beginning of March is when we're going to see Halo Infinite. If not, maybe a little sooner, but I doubt it.
I will say with Microsoft pushing Halo to 2021, there's a lot of first-party games they're going to have in 2021, it looks like. So it's going to be a big year for Microsoft then, although we've been saying for 2020 it was going to be a big year here too. I just hope that they can land on their feet. They did say that they really don't care how many Series X consoles they sell. Really, they want to get you into the ecosystem, into that...
It's not what the shareholders are saying.
Maybe, but Game Pass is a very, very impressive thing, and it's getting people left and right into the Xbox ecosystem, not just for Xbox consoles, but for PC, the Game Pass for PC stuff. There's all kinds of revenue to be had just with that subscription model alone.
Right.
So.
And on the upside, they did announce that Halo Infinite is going to be native 120 frames per second.
Yeah, let's talk about fun,
which
good
is
things.
Awesome. Which is awesome.
120 frames per second. I don't even know what that looks like because I think my TV can't even do that. So it sounds awesome. I love that. I know this Ori and the Will of the Wisps, they were announcing that at the game showcase, and that's going to be 120 frames per second as well. That's awesome. I love to see more of that, just because 60. I mean, we're still not even used to 60 on a steady, constant basis for games. So I love that. The other part of that, free to play, multiplayer. Yeah. Multiplayer is going to be free to play, and that's huge. I mean, I don't know about you, but games that are free to play like Fortnite, they're massive, and they're making money in different ways. But those games, they're massive because of the fact that there's no barrier to entry. And I love that because I want to play Halo with as many of my friends as possible. And if they don't have to drop $60 to play it, they can just jump in and play for free. That's awesome. It's just everybody come on and play Halo with us. So I think that is a really cool thing that they announced. So there is good news about Halo. It's just sad that we have to wait a little bit longer to play.
You can read all the novels. There are like 125 of them. No, there's like 60. But anyway, read the Follow Reach. That's all you need to worry about.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a
good
great
one. Good classic.
But in other news, speaking of Fortnite,
yes,
dude, Epic has been getting slapped all week this week. Apple took down Fortnite from the Apple iOS store.
Wow.
I know. Wow.
I don't play it on iOS, but wow for those who do.
So for all you casuals out there that don't know the gist, I'm gonna distill it down to its core elements here. So earlier in the past couple of weeks, Fortnite updated their game on iOS App Store with a secondary payment option that essentially bypassed the App Store protocols that Apple had put in place. And so Apple retaliated by shutting down Fortnite access on the App Store.
Pulled it off.
And so Apple essentially gave written notice to Epic to essentially repair the breach. Like, essentially, Fortnite, was invited over to Apple's house. Apple had a fridge, and Fortnite said, I want to enter the fridge and take the food without asking Apple. But Apple's like, just ask for the fridge to be opened, and it'll be open to you. But no, Fortnite took away food from Apple, and Apple shut it down. And essentially, Apple has said, you got 2 weeks to repair the breach. But if you don't, we are removing Epic, not just Fortnite, Epic from the Apple developer program, and it's required to use developer tools and publish to iOS.
Which is crazy because Epic also has Unreal Engine.
Right.
And so a lot of games use Unreal Engine. So it's like, what is this? What does these repercussions mean for a lot of people?
So for the casuals that don't know about Unreal Engine, you've seen Unreal Engine used in all kinds of games. Think games like Gears of War and Hellblade. But Unreal Engine is a huge free-to-start game engine used by many developers through Apple Arcade. And if you guys ever played Infinity Blade, the iOS game, that used Unreal 3. So to give you guys some context, as Apple, when Apple takes down developer rights for Epic to be using this Unreal Engine in the Mac stores, in the iOS stores, it's going to be tougher for developers to put their content on Apple's systems, because if you update Apple's OS, it won't allow Unreal Engine without certain security updates.
Yeah, it's a big deal. This whole thing. It was also premeditated. Epic knew what they were doing when they put this secondary thing in. And one thing, and to add on to what you were saying, this secondary payment option, basically the reason why is Apple takes a 30% cut of all content purchased in these games. That's one of the things of the cost of doing business, basically. We'll put you up in the App Store, the only place you can get apps downloaded to your phone, your iPhone or iPad, and we're going to take a cut of that because we're giving you all this promotion, everything. It's in our store. That 30% is a very high amount when you're talking about subscriptions, and anything that's purchased has to go through Apple. So Fortnite, Epic, in Fortnite, they've got a place where you can purchase, is it V-Bucks they were purchasing?
Yeah, V-Bucks.
V-Bucks. And so it was like $9.99 for however many V-Bucks. I can't remember exactly how many. Well, they also came out with a direct to Epic payment. I can't remember exactly what they called it, but it's a direct payment. And made it $7.99. Basically cutting out Apple. You pay us directly, it'll be cheaper for you because you don't have to pay that 30% surcharge that we have to to pass on to you. Well, Apple was not happy about that because they don't want to be cut out of their money. But Epic knew that this was going to cause some things. They pulled it down. Epic immediately had their lawsuit ready to go, and they had that video, or the video they called 1980 Fortnite, and it was a direct comparison to Apple's very famous 1984.
Address, yeah.
And it was something where there was this Apple character on the screen, and it's all black and white, and this character from Fortnite's running down the halls. This is just like Apple's commercial way back in the day.
With the sledgehammer.
Yeah, exactly. Except this time it was a pickaxe, threw it the screen and shattered. It was very much like, hey, Apple.
It was a PR stunt.
Come on.
They knew what
Come
they
on,
were
we
doing.
know. So I think that with Epic kind of going at Apple like this, they want to see Apple change their ways on this. And it's not just Apple, Google as well. I believe the Google Play Store has had some things like this. They're going against both of them because they want to see some change in there. In the lawsuit, Epic is not actually requesting any money paid to them for damages. They just want to see some change in this ecosystem. It really, at the end of the day, it's Apple's app store. They can really do whatever they want to. But as a consumer, I would love to see some of the other things that Apple has shut down because of these policies. Namely, not to switch topics, kind of related to this, but xCloud. xCloud recently was announced from Microsoft to be able to play on these devices. It's coming out full force on Android only because Apple has shut it down for iOS. They don't allow, because of their App Store policies, allow something like xCloud to be on their platform. So I would love to see this whole Epic versus Apple kind of really strip away some of these things that Apple has come down hard on, just to see some change, because I know I would love to be able to play all my games on an iPhone. That's what I have. So
I was reading the initial complaint, the legal papers that Fortnite Epic showed up to Apple, and it's interesting to see the names on this case. These lawyers are from Cravath, like they're insane. Like there's some big firms. This is going to be a big fight for sure, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. You know, I can't say I have a lot of like empathy for a huge game developer like Epic or this monster behemoth like Apple, but to be honest, like for a lot of young studios, for a lot of independents, when you're factoring in margins for being able to put your content on the App Store, 30% is a huge cut. Mm-hmm. And I could definitely tell you for certainty that a lot of really promising games that could have made it on iOS didn't, because the margin was too high. They couldn't reach that. And so it'll be interesting to see what Apple does. That being said, it's a big fish. It's a big fish kind of pond. The more smaller fish you eat, the bigger you get, kind of a thing. So Apple is huge, but Apple also deserves it because they do everything and they're controlling all this content, and it is really seamless. It will be really cool to see how this kind of turns out for Epic. I'm just kind of like, I could really toss it up both ways. Epic, come on, like you shouldn't have picked this like fight. But then again, like Apple, like we could have been a little bit more open to the whole idea of the Steve Jobs innovative process. But let's be honest, Apple hasn't been the same since Tim Cook took it, and that's just how it is, and you kind of have to live with that and the way the atmosphere is today.
And I don't think this case is going to be anything wrapped up anytime soon. Like you said, it's going to be a big battle between the two. I could be totally wrong. I could say this, and oh wow, they decided to settle behind the scenes, and somehow Apple's policies have changed quietly. Who knows? I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to fight on this for a while. But like I said, at the end of the day, I hope that these companies can come together and realize that we got to do what's best for the consumer. Because, Apple can say all day long, you know what, it's our app store. You do what we say because it's ours. But there are a lot of people who want to be able to play these games. They want to be able to do these things. And I'm not saying open it up and change things and prevent or open it up to security flaws. I don't want that. Apple's done a good job of locking some things down with that. It's just loosen up some of the policies that they have tightened up. Not to jump back over to the xCloud thing, but that's one thing that I don't understand why Apple has taken a stance on games. That's one thing that the reason why they shut down the xCloud program for Microsoft for iOS is that they said in a statement, and this all happens back to back, which is really funny. Apple's getting beat up on all these different sides.
Up.
Yeah.
$2
They're getting
trillion
attacked.
Apple being beat up.
But the big thing they were saying was, well, we can't review every game that's on xCloud because it's coming through this cloud service, whereas Apple always, for every app that's in the App Store, they're able to review it and go through those policies. Well, Microsoft isn't just letting any game through. Game Pass, xCloud is using Game Pass. Those are rated by the ESRB. And one thing they talked about was, why is Apple singling out the game industry? You've got things like Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got other different video platforms that have all kinds of content on there, and they're letting those things in. Do they have to review every single movie or TV show that's out there? No, they don't do that. They let it, no problem. So why is Apple limiting things like Stadia, Google Stadia, Microsoft's xCloud? Well, Apple has Apple Arcade. That's one of those, tinfoil hat conspiracy theories. Apple doesn't want that to have any kind of competition with that. So anyway, all that said, there's a lot going on with Apple legally. We hope that this all kind of settles in favor for the consumer.
So with that, gentlemen and ladies, we've got some cool news coming from WB Games Montreal. You know WB Games, they made the Batman games, they made all the Lord of the Rings games you didn't like, except for Shadow of War.
Shadow of War.
Shadow of Mordor was okay. Shadow of War was a little better, but yes. WB, by far not the best game developer in the world, but they make a lot of IPs that we all love. That being said, they did release on Twitter today. They made a new Twitter account called Redacted, and they did release a GIF spoiler for what we think is a new Batman game. During the course of the GIF animation, you see the Court of Owls icon flash. And if you guys don't know about Court of Owls, let me flex on you a little bit. My Batman knowledge.
Do it.
So, Court of Owls is a crime syndicate in the Batman universe, Gotham universe. It's been in Gotham since colonial times and was first established in the Batman universe October issue of 2011. So if you haven't played the Batman Arkham series games, they're really great. Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight, not so good. Arkham City had Talia al Ghul and Catwoman, and Batman Arkham Asylum, always incredible to see Mark Hamill play the Joker, which he did play Joker in all three of the games, yes. But they were all a whole lot of fun, except for Arkham Knight.
I liked Arkham Knight, thank you very much.
Too much Batmobile mini games, okay?
Yes, that's
Too
true.
much Batmobile mini games. Anyway, with WB Montreal, with this little GIF teaser thing, I would love to see a new Batman game for a new console generation. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Kevin Conroy reprise freaking Batman? I mean, I liked Christian Bale as Batman, but he's not Kevin Conroy. He's not Batman the animated series. He's not Batman Beyond Batman. It's so exciting to see, but you never know. Last year they did also tease another GIF that was similar in scope. It was 329 days apart, according to Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. But I think we might just see a new Batman, Brando. What do you think about a new Batman?
I would love that. I did like the Arkham series as well. I didn't play Arkham Origins because it wasn't made by the same people. But the trilogy there, I thought was really great. I enjoyed the whole combat system. I really, really loved going around Gotham City. And yes, the Batmobile was... it was heavily used, but I didn't mind it. It was fine. Looking back, I look on it fondly. But I would love to see a new game in that. I know that they've been teasing this for a while, so I don't want to get my hopes up, but I would love to see something, especially for the next generation.
And if you guys are on Game Pass, Batman, the Arkham series, they're there. They're a whole lot of fun. You can't get Arkham Asylum. They did come out for 360. They did do a re-release. I think they did do like a remaster kind of a thing.
Combo with the
but
City.
I would recommend definitely going through and playing those games. If you like Batman, if you like DC Comics, it is true to all of Batman's stuff. Like, it's just like I thought I was watching the animated series again as a kid. Like, it was that good. The story's excellent.
I love, like, doing the whole stealth part where you can just, like, what is the thing he uses? The
Bat grapple.
The bat grapple. Thank you. I was like, what is it? The grapple up and then hanging down and
Stealth takedowns.
Yes, all that. So all that stuff's great. And that's one thing too. I love to see that. But the Rocksteady, which they made as well, they also made the Arkham series games. They announced the Suicide Squad. So that's something as well to look out for. And I know that there's rumors about what's that game going to be like. I think the actual teaser image they had was like the Suicide Squad logo in the shape of like a bullseye over the back of Superman's head. I almost said Spider-Man. Superman's head, which is cool. I think it's called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is what they are calling it. So that would be interesting to see if they're using that same kind of gameplay style for that game. Or whatever they do with Court of Owls. Overall, I want more of the comic, the DC comic side on that. I am a Marvel fan at heart, but I really enjoy the Arkham games.
Guys, it is really tough to find you a decent DC Comics movie every once in a while. If you're going to watch anyone, Zack Snyder, JL Uncut. But listen, guys, let's be honest here. The games are way better than any of the games, except Shazam. Shazam is awesome. Go watch Shazam. But let's be honest here. None of the other ones were great. But go play Arkham games. They're amazing. With that, going over to PS5 Sony news, guys, a great surprise for you. I know how much you loved my review on Ghost of Tsushima. I know because all 10 of you watched it with your average watch time of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But guess what, guys? Ghost of Tsushima has got a multiplayer co-op update coming very, very soon. Ghost of Tsushima Legends. If you haven't seen the trailer, it looks like a ton of fun and looks sweet. What we have in the trailer is essentially, it appears to be some kind of horde mode. Okay, so you've got 4 players coming together all across Tsushima from different games, different armor styles, different play styles, a stealth guy, a bow guy, a tank, an attacker, come together to destroy the Mongol horde. Now, we don't know if that's PvP. We don't know if there's any of that in there. It was all very vague, but what it does appear to be is a free multiplayer co-op title that lets you play together and attack the Mongols together. It looks super duper exciting.
So this is coming from a casual gamer here.
Please,
have
come
no
on, casual.
idea.
Come on.
Did they release enough information? Am I going to ask you questions you're going to know the answer to
Just
here?
the trailer.
Okay. Well, then I was going to say,
trailer.
I'd love to know if, one, is it standalone or is it something that's just like, oh, it's another mode inside the game? Because that's kind of cool if it was with this. Another thing, too, is this is a single-player game, right?
Yep.
So turning a single-player game on its head.
Bring your friends.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, this is a single-player / multiplayer game with a new multiplayer mode like Horde. This is a completely solo experience that they're now saying, let's include other people.
Which is what made the free update announcement so just exciting. Like, after the highs of playing through Tsushima, Sucker Punch did a really great job with their very first open world title. Bottom line, you should play it. But the fact that they're like, you know what, we're going to make this a little sweeter. We're going to give you a free co-op to play with your friends.
That's cool.
Come on, man. Like, bring it on. That's so amazing. That being said, like, I think it'll be overall really exciting to play with. Like, I think it'll be just a fun way to get people back into Tsushima. At the end of the game, you don't really have a reason to go back and play it again. But,
seems to be the thing with a lot of these single-player games.
Which is so great to be able to have just like this extra experience with your friends. That'll be really cool to see what they do with it. And for free, I'll take it. Thank you, Sucker Punch.
Absolutely.
All right, Brando, before we wrap up tonight, we have to ask the age-old question. Brando, what are you playing right now?
Yes.
Is it Final Fantasy VII Remake? Please
well,
say no.
Actually, not yet because I haven't had time to play that, but I've
life.
been on vacation, actually.
Welcome back.
So, yes, thank you very much. It was good to get away. I did take my Switch, though, and as I mentioned, I might buy Paper Mario. I did, and I actually enjoyed playing it.
You actually enjoyed it?
I don't know why I said actually, because I like that series. I will say it is what people are saying. It is a little repetitive, and it is a little easy. I wouldn't say boring because it's not boring. I enjoy that series, but it is different than I expected. And yes, I did watch, a lot of the information out there. I did see what the battle system would be like. But I enjoy Paper Mario itself, and it is that humor is there, and I enjoy that. It is something that you can kind of put your brain on pilot, on autopilot, and just go and play. There's some things I thought there were in there because it is an RPG, or so I
Tries
thought.
to be,
yeah. There isn't any XP or leveling up. It's really just defeat the enemies as they come, and you can buy or find new gear, which I did find the hard way that it does break. It's not like, it's
like
upgrade.
Zelda.
Yeah, it's pretty much like Breath of the Wild.
Thanks a lot, Nintendo.
Yes,
Another riveting experience with my armor breaking.
But it is fun. I do, like I said, it's just that whole world is a good time. So I'm not super far into it. I would love to keep going and see if it does get any harder, get any more challenging and more rewarding. I'm sure it will. But it is definitely one of those easy, just have fun, chill games.
How many hours are you into this game, Brandon?
That's a good question. I was playing it
1.5 hours.
Well, no, maybe a couple hours or so. I've been playing. That's the great thing with the Switch is that you can pick it up, play for 15 minutes.
So would you say based on those couple hours, would you be like buy it or like let it go until it goes on sale, if it ever? Because thanks Nintendo.
This is Nintendo, and yes,
it'll never go on sale.
If it did go on sale, I would say absolutely wait for a sale. But that's really the reason why I picked it up as early as I did, because I am usually the sale guy. Like, I wait until a sale happens, even if I have to wait 2 or 3 years for this game to come out or to go on sale. I will wait because I don't have time to play anyway, so why rush into a $60 game?
Being so thrifty, you suddenly have more budget to buy Nintendo games full price.
Because I know they don't ever go on
They
sale.
do not.
So if they're
No,
not
they
going to
don't.
go on sale, might as well get it when I want to play it. So, and it was the perfect time while on vacation because I had time to pick up and play. So yes, I do like it. I want to see more of it. If you were not a fan of the Paper Mario series and you're looking for that really intense RPG action from a Nintendo game, it's not this. It's not this at all. But if you do like Paper Mario, or just Mario in general, and you like the humor behind what they do with that Paper Mario series, it's here. It's fun. I do like it. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. But it is a tentative buy. If it's on sale, sure, pick it up. But good luck.
Guys, with that, we really appreciate you guys tuning in for this latest episode of the Gaming Casuals podcast. Guys, if you liked it, please subscribe. Listen, guys, we have 95 subscribers. I'd love to get another 5. And the reality is that my mom hasn't even subscribed. So we would really appreciate it if you subscribe. That way I wouldn't feel so bad about my mom not subscribing. And not only that, but follow us on Instagram at The Gaming Casuals. We post there all the time. Be sure to check us out there, as well as our YouTube channel if you're listening on the podcast side of things. We're on Apple iTunes, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, wherever podcasts are distributed, we're there. And those of you on YouTube, let us know in the comments below. What are some games you're playing right now? What do you think about Halo? We'd be interested to know. Let us know down below. We'll see you guys next time on The Gaming Casuals.
See ya.